Well, I'm David Thatcher, and I'm a recent member to the Wooden Boat Association in 2024. Met a lot of good blokes and great people, Peter Batchelor and David O'Dempsey and Andrew Cohen, etc. My background has been in aluminium and stainless steel, welding and fabrication, specialised work from, I guess, the shipbuilding industry in Britain originally, into from the 70s, could see more stainless steel and aluminium fabrication becoming more usable in the foreseeable future, and went chasing as much experience as I could. Done my time in multi-storey commercial air conditioning, went on to build aluminium dinghies and welding and fabrication back in the 70s. Most of my boats have been from small boats, 12-foot canoes, sabots that I've bought second-hand parts for and put together myself, onto a scow moth, little 12-foot, 13-foot fishing dinghies, some not always built by myself, but bought cheap and rebuilt or reconditioned, and right up to the quick catamarans and a 12-foot catamaran was my first build, and now the 16-foot Hartley and the model. So that's what we're up to at the moment. Now the model is, I needed to build a wooden project for the winter 2024. I decided that, like the Miami Air Sea Rescue boat story, I wanted to build a model, not another TS16 full size, something that wasn't too big. So 40 inches was decided on, thereabouts. Peter Batchelor blew the plan up for me that I acquired a sketch off the Hartley TS16 Association, and we went through the process of building a 40-inch, hopefully down the track, radio control model of the Hartley TS16, scaled down from, I think Peter said it was 1 to 5 or thereabouts, which makes it about 40 inches, and 1.5 mil ply Obeki or Gaboon ply covering over wooden frame with stringers, not stitched and glued. Try to keep it built nearly the same as the full size one would have been. Not identical, but as close as practical. A few things I changed and learnt my lesson that shouldn't have changed from Richard Hartley's design, because he already knew the pitfalls, but I took the hard way. Instead of putting diagonals in the lower part of the bottom bow area, I went right around with stringers, and it did make it more difficult to bend the ply, but we got over that. Just a different technique that he already probably tried and thought this is a different, easier this way, but Dave always does things the hardest way. So that's and later on the next week we'll probably cut off the jig. The jig was made higher so as I could get my hand underneath, and on the Miami I had it lower and a couple of stringers let go and I couldn't get under to push them back out before the glue set. So this time I decided I'd have it where my hands had been suffering a bit of arthritis, and I needed to be able to get underneath to hold a stringer if it let go with the glue, which did work, because it then meant that I could hold it against there while the epoxy, or got a clamp on while the epoxy went off. The keel was just made out of I think it's 10mm ply, and then I put a separate piece. I decided that the ply would come up level with the keel, and then I would put a separate piece of timber over to blend in with the centre plate case. Similar to what the full size had, but because I couldn't get underneath to make exactly the same, I was just it's probably very close, but it's probably 98% the same. But I needed a centre plate that won't be quite the same shape as the Hartley, because that swings on a bolt pivot. This I want to drop through and have a lead bulb on it, or weight as such in lead, but on a drop through plate, which a lot of the bigger trailer sailor has had of that era, where they'd drop it through and wind it up and down on a little winch and cable system. A lot of those bigger trailer sailors used to wind them up and down through the bottom of the hull, and then when they wind them up they could get them on the trailer, because the bulb came right up to the underneath of the hull. So there's a bit of a change between the design of the actual centre plate is more usable on the model if I need to put it in the water. Then if I had it like the other one, might work, but maybe not as efficiently, because this way I can take a bolt out and drop the keel right out for display purposes. So that's what it's going to be used for, display plus as a radio control working model. The bench that I built it on was originally bought from Stratco in Dandenong, and was reduced in price for about $60. So I didn't want one bench 1800 high. I wanted two benches different heights. So I put them together with the help of my son, who got some whiteboard from where he works in the kitchen business, to make good flat benches, because they only supplied it with 3mm MDF. And it wasn't heavy enough for a baseboard for building the model. So the benches are actually 1200 by 450 by different heights. I've only recently lifted the Hartley model off the higher one to the lower one, so I'm stretching my shoulders so much to stand. So within them two benches I can modify a lot of variations. And mobile wheels, to buy the trolleys from Bunnings and cut them up was cheaper than just buying the wheels. So then I adapted them onto the trolleys, and very versatile, cheap mobile benches, which I can have 3 or 4 of them going at once, different heights. Once I get my main workshop sorted out a bit better, they'll probably get moved into there. And I'm thinking about like a railway line system from one to the other, so that I can run them off one onto the other and along at the same height, and I can have them up and down like in storage in there, and then they'll have a bit more room on the back veranda. So I've got a lot of ideas, if I live long enough, to put into production to make it all more, or I can go right around the garage and in one side and out the other side, finished. Who knows?